Hi, small YouTube. I just wanted to get in front of the camera and practice talking in a microphone. To do that, I'm going to tell you about my game Monster Mansion 3D, which I made last year using old animation software called Animation Master. Here's one copy that I picked up off of eBay. The CD is in here, and there's lots of cool old CGI photographs on the box. There's lots of versions of Animation Master, including a current version you can purchase off the website for a subscription fee, and it runs on modern operating systems. The reason I chose Animation Master is because I was making an old looking game and I wanted it to run in MS-DOS or disk operating system. So long story short, I completed my game and I wanted to show you it and do a little let's play. So let me open up DOSBox real quick. Most people, when they think about DOSBox, they think about a black screen, and this is what the first time I ever saw DOS, it looked like this. There's a sort of yellow and blue aesthetic, kind of like next gen Star Trek. It's a file management system called Xtree, and basically you can operate the file tree kind of like Windows or early versions of Windows. Very minimalist way of browsing around. So I'm going to go to the DOS Game Jam 2025 folder, and I've got a few games here. Here's my game, and I'm going to double click it or triple click. Right away you can see the art credits that I have some 3D objects. And I'm going to need to turn up my volume and down the music volume. So this intro scene is inspired a little bit by Myst. When you enter the game for the first time in Myst, there's a fly-through of the island in 3D. One of the streamers who played the game this December thought this was a Viewmaster stereoscope toy, which that is kind of the inspiration of what I was going for here. It's kind of like cheesy 3D or cheesy special effects. I was originally thinking maybe having that red and blue tinted 3D special effect, but it turned out to be a little bit too ambitious for this project. Although the CGI program, Animation Master, does have a way to render those old special effects out.
Welcome to my mansion. If you can find all the monsters and take a picture of them before midnight, I will reward you handsomely. Some of the monsters are friendly and some of them are not, but you will do fine, kid.
So the audio is not very well balanced in this game. But basically, I asked my in-law over Thanksgiving to send me a voice memo of this butler talking. He's from the South, and I thought that his accent might contribute to this unique sort of butler-sounding guy. And I'm grateful he sent me a few voice memos, and I just picked one and put it in the game. So the music here at the gate is a fugue, a Creative Commons fugue. Originally I had a placeholder MIDI file that was someone's composition version of one of the soundtrack pieces from Myst. And when I saw this game streamed on Twitch, someone noticed right away, and I was pretty embarrassed by that, so I quickly changed it to Creative Commons. But that's what you get for leaving copyrighted stuff in your game. These transitions between scenes is a file format known as FLIC, FLIC is this file format that you can create using RAD tools. And if you know anything about 90s video game creation, Bink and Smacker are these tool sets that you can use to make animations and compile a bunch of images into animations. There's a little Easter egg here. If you go back to the gate, it'll ask you if you want to quit. I thought it'd be funny to say something, are you chicken, are you scared, but I kind of ran out of time. So this is the default Adventure Game Studio sort of font. This is one of the first scenes I rendered, and I'm pretty proud of the way it came out. No creaky door sound effects here, but kind of feels like there should be. And no audio in the mansion. That was kind of intentional. I wanted it to be quiet to set kind of a jumpy mood. The first of the 12 things you can find here is the Duke of Nukem. And you click on him to get 1 point. However, if you keep clicking on just this one portrait, you can add 12 points and finish the game early. It's sort of a glitch in the code. I'm not sure what I did wrong, but this is the first thing I did to add sound to the game. Is I added a sound file to this knight here. There's no real purpose to the knight, though. I knew people would click on them, so I didn't want to insult them by not having any sound effect at all. All these images were originally, I was planning to do a much lower resolution version of the game in VGA graphics, but I realized that Adventure Game Studio 2.62, the version I used, had the ability to compile a game in Super VGA. So this is 480p, which is a lot more pixels than old school DOS games. This is the Utah teapot for people who know computer animation.
I'm a little source code, short and stout. This is my input, this is my out.
And Utah teapot plays a line from the show Reboot where Enzo says he's a little teapot, but instead of teapot he says source code. And you can see through the wall, and you can see the rest of the objects hidden behind the wall in the mansion here. On the wall here we have a mixed bag of DOS characters. Commander King Graham and Duke Nukem, Jazz Jackrabbit. Lara Croft was originally a DOS character. Larry Laffer, Shodan, and Lemming. These meshes, some of them are from artists online, and I did my best to credit them in the full documentation for the game. But I did make the Lemming from scratch, and the Larry Laffer. But here we go over here. We have some Latin that says home sweet home is where the heart is. Sweet Home is a reference to the video game series, or the video game Sweet Home, and the tie-in movie in Japan from the 80s called Sweet Home, which kind of kicked off the whole Resident Evil genre. Definitely worth checking out. The movie Sweet Home is a Toho production, and it's pretty good if you like old Toho movies like Godzilla. You get this entity here, biblically accurate angels, sort of a meme. I like the way that this hard shadow is going over the pillar. I added a MIDI soundtrack to this piano, which is it's a self-playing piano soundtrack, where it tests all the keys on the piano, And you can go on YouTube and see a video of this thing playing. Just type in self-playing piano, and this is one of it's the Circus Gallop is what it's called. Turn it up. The music goes for like, I don't know, 10 minutes. It goes on for quite a while. When people played this game, they weren't sure what was happening or if it was going to ever end, but it just keeps getting more and more obnoxious. So I'm going to stop that. The curtain pool here, people were really impressed universally by that. I guess it's kind of easy to be impressive with CGI, but I'm happy the way it turned out. This is a pneumatic elevator, which is an actual thing you can buy in the current day. If you look up pneumatic elevators on YouTube, you can put one of these in your mansion. It's not really period accurate to the 40s or 50s, whenever this is supposed to be. In the game Myst, you could kind of look out all the windows in the tower. For this game, I just wanted to focus on showing off some imagery from this old computer program and the old dithered graphics, limited to 256 colors. This is a copy. This character art is copied from a cartoon show in the 90s. If you know which one it is, then you were watching TV in the 80s and 90s. But I did all the 3D by looking at the image. The navigation was a little confusing for people. I had to kind of cram all the art in last minute. I spent most of the game jam time just making the art in the game, and then figuring out how to implement it in AGS in the last few weeks. I had never used AGS before, so I kind of did fumble around for a bit. This is a concept car I modeled to kind of look like some sort of Batman animated series. Someone left the lights on in this garage bay. You turn it off, and then you can see underneath the lake. And we have Tentacle, one of the first models I made in Animation Master, which is a reference to Day of the Tentacle, the game. A lot of references in this game, sort of intentionally stealing content. That was part of the idea of this game, was to have imagery that reminds you of something or directly references it, but from a kind of forgotten time in video game history by most people. This clock, I had to learn, what are the basics of a grandfather clock. We got the 3 weights here, but it has no face, and when you click on it, we get Mav's character design here, Flysis Beesus, original character design. He's not a reference to anything. You step outside here, and some streamer thought that this was some pixel art done in Photoshop, and while that is true, I didn't paint this. It is still 3D animation, and I'm pretty proud of the way that this kind of turned out. We got the night here, and we're trying to get to a total of 10 things captured. Gonna go into the bedroom, and someone said that this coat rack reminded them of Twinsen, but actually Twinsen is in the room. He's just sitting on the shelf here. And this is a lamp reference to the show Twin Peaks. It's in the Black Lodge. David Lynch liked the Saturn lamp. And we got a Kit Kat clock. So we click on the hat, and we have a, things that would make a kid scared. We have this kind of garish bathroom. I thought people might think you were going down the toilet, but when you click on the toilet, it just flushes. You gotta have functional toilets in your video game. And you click on the balloon. One of the enemy ideas was a balloon that followed you. And that is you in the mirror. Your character's always behind the camera in every scene. So in theory, you're going to sweep the dust and it's going to kick up a monster. That's what the idea was here anyways. And this was supposed to be a little fiery sprite, like Calcifer or something, but I wanted to fill the screen with the art so you could see the shapes, and you got this tongue popping out at you. So I'm going to go up to the top, and you get Moon Man, which is a reference to a deep cut animation called the Moon Man. You can look it up on YouTube. He catches a comet to Earth and tries to live with a human people, and it doesn't work out.
Yay!
Yep, so that's my game, Monster Mansion 3D. Oh, this is Nigel, which was from the Animation Master library. On one of the CDs I had, he makes a he's one of the character models you can open up, and so I used a version of him that I manipulated. So I hope you like what you saw, and if you like this sort of deep dive into old software and making games for MS-DOS, or making old games, importing them to new hardware like virtual reality. I'm going to be experimenting with more of that on this channel. So subscribe if you've made it this far. All right, see you later, small YouTube.